battle between Britain and France has begun, between me and my friend Archer 1815, and here are the rules of the campaign. We each are given 50 guns, all of the generals appointed to our nation in the Total War game, and they can die, and, well, if they die you can't use them again. And the goal is to capture the opponent's capital. Not much more to it. You can capture the other person's guns, as you'll see. For the first battle, I planned to set up my guns in a central battery in the center, and I committed 12 of my reserve artillery, with another 4 horse artillery to the right. I don't know why I didn't put them in a battery, and I'm just looking at this wondering what the hell I was thinking. As the opening shots fire, we immediately destroy one of their guns, which means, in the rules of the campaign, that we capture it and can use it after the battle. More on that later. However, that we never destroyed a single other of his artillery for the rest of the battle, which is, you know, a slight flaw. And, you know, you'll see. After about a 5-minute stalemate where our artillery continued to bombard each other, achieving effectively nothing, other than his guns kind of pulverizing all of the crew on my artillery, I decided, with, you know, the smartest of intentions, to push up forces along the left and the right. And as I pushed along the right side, he just spawned like 30 million soldiers out of the trees. Which, if you can see, is probably bad for this one light infantry regiment. And if you can see that cavalry bearing down on these men, who cannot form square, I decided, you know, try and make them put their stakes in, but a bit too late, and, well, they got touched. Yeah, there's not much else to say. I sent up some line infantry and then my reserve militia to try and deal with the threat there. And then, as you watch my artillery just kind of get melted, we've already lost one artillery piece there. The light infantry in the middle is somehow still alive. Again, I don't know what I was doing for this battle. However, as they are on French soil for the first battle, they are attempting to land at Calais in the lore of the tournament. Don't question why there's any palm trees. You know, notoriously French palm trees. Anywho, if I could survive the battle, it would be considered a draw, but as they failed to land, and my army was not completely destroyed, I would win, effectively, and be given the chance to land on their country. But I still had to stay alive. If you see the analysis bar, it actually says that I'm winning. I don't really know how that's possible, because his artillery was set up in the very specific way that would allow him to kind of just destroy everything I really have, without me being able to do a thing about it. Because he chose howitzers. Howitzers can just shoot over any defenses. But my artillery was firing round shot, and I don't have howitzers, which can't, like, arc the shells. So, he could destroy the crews with my guns, and even the guns themselves, and I could do effectively nothing in return. The next few minutes of battle consist effectively of me trying to save what remains of my shattered artillery and my general army from the effects of the howitzers, basically by hiding everyone on the right flank in the forest and having my general attempt to scurry away where his entire staff and also him were injured or killed. He didn't die though, which is important, because he's a named general, which means if he dies, I lose access to him for the remainder of the campaign. Now, I decided to try and attack on the left flank with my cavalry, which is the one advantage I have, because as of right now, he has no more cavalry left after his attempted cavalry charge. I did lose a unit during that exchange, and my cavalry, although he didn't notice, so he was unable to form a square, giving my cavalry the exact chance it needed to absolutely pulverize. Oh, never mind. Proceeds to form a square in approximately 0 seconds and absolutely cook anything I have left. This attack caused me to lose this cavalry, and if you see that infantry unit on the right has absolutely 0 morale, for some reason, and then they decide to retreat towards the enemy. You know, as the great tacticians that they are, I managed to save some of the cavalry along with some of the infantry. That other unit's too far gone. And they shatter and then proceed to run along the entire enemy front line and just get pulverized. You do you, I guess. Not really my problem. I decided in vain to attempt to salvage this attack and get something out of it. And in that attempt, I didn't really achieve all that much. As you see in the next couple of minutes of this battle, I proceeded to just blunder 3 more units and the better part of my cavalry to, well, enemy guns. After losing a third of my infantry in achieving effectively nothing, well, I killed some of his men, I lost another solid portion of my artillery crews, and the entire 3rd battery that I failed to put the bunkers on. He decided he was going to push on my right flank, which I was actually somewhat prepared for. And as you'll see, this goes as well as you'd expect. I outnumber him slightly. The left flank is a complete lost cause, just don't worry about it. That couldn't come back to haunt us at all. And this other cavalry unit is just gonna get smited by whatever they have left. I don't know how they have that much range. It doesn't make any sense to me. In inevitably trying to save that cavalry, I somehow am successful as they continue to just destroy my artillery. Somehow, they haven't done any damage to the infantry in that same area. But, yeah, for the rest of the battle, they kind of tend to sit their infantry on the right flank in the forest, and I just forget about it for like 30 minutes until a big battle goes on. And for this part, his infantry is just out of cannon range. Otherwise, it would have been a slaughter. But there's not really anything I could do at this point. In trying to reinforce the left flank, I send over 3 more units to replace the 4 I already lost there, which is honestly not going to happen. That flank was doomed from the start, probably due to my own failure. Trust me, it gets better. Maybe not in this battle. Well, maybe in this battle. And then I try to run my general across, like the absolutely stellar commander I am. Well, but, wait, how did I kill his, that's me killing his general. I think I just artilleried him and he didn't notice. Kind of forgot about that. And while he was distracted with the general, I realized these are all very well trained units on his right flank, or his left flank, my right flank. Sorry, and I wasn't gonna be able to push up through it. And he's also got those dang sharpshooters there. They'll be important later. And then, yeah, somehow he failed to kill my general, so he's okay. And you can just see in the smoke and flame where my artillery batteries are. I retreat my general over to the right, and just in vain attempt to hold that flank, because the left side is just gone at this point. I had the guard on the left, which actually caused them to break because of morale issues up at the top there. And this is when I thought I had turned it around. I had, in fact, not turned it around, as you'll see soon. So remember those reinforcements I'd sent to the left? I managed to get them pulverized in 10 minutes. I did destroy a few units with them, but in doing so I lost my old guard, my best units. And also, these artillery crew are just kind of vegetables now. I don't really know what's up with that. Anyway, victory still seems within our grasp. Sort of, if you really, really imagine it. All he really has is his artillery, and then his bloody troops in the forest. So I'm thinking, hey, maybe I could win this. And then all my artillery just ends up gone here. If you can see, my artillery is down to almost single digits. One has 8 soldiers remaining and one has 14 out of their original 24, which means they can't even fire all the guns. The one on the right can only fire 2, and the one on the left, I think, can fire 3, which is really bad when you're trying to, you know, use your guns. Shocker, I know. Revolutionary stuff. Anyway, his gun positioning was absolutely immaculate, and without a doubt was the cause of won him the battle. I attempt to sneak my artillery across, because of how small the firing arcs are when the artillery's in the battery. I thought this was pretty smart. But the howitzers can fire over their own emplacement and just shoot any direction because they're just like that. They hate me, I guess. I don't really know. Also, because yeah, and they went from a full morale to absolutely shattered. But those cavalry did help me later on. They somehow survived that onslaught. And these guns are pretty much have not taken any damage since that one cannon we destroyed. And there's his one regiment on the left, and then everything else on the right, in the forest. In this next bit, it's just, I attempt to circumvent all of his defenses by sending my cavalry around the right side. However, I didn't get much success in that regard, especially as to how slow they were moving. A small fight on the left side ensued after his men had popped out of the ground, because that's how hiding works in this game. Also, I don't know how you could be hiding in this kind of forest. There's genuinely nothing that you could hide behind except maybe a tree. Then, as they ran out of ammo, they charged us, but all of the units in this pile kind of just got destroyed. Nothing really came of that. Then, finally on the right flank, he started to expose his troops, because his sharpshooters were firing at me, and they pop up every now and again. But, yeah, eventually, as they've been firing the whole time, and ammo is limited, I don't know why it's only for infantry. At this point, only one of my artillery is still alive, and it has 0 guns firing, because they've been retreated off the guns, and because they're all vegetables, I can't even move them. The general's alive and well-ish. Half of his, no, 3/4 of his staff are gone, and, well, it's about what you'd expect. He's still alive, and I've set up a defensive position to try and fend off the attack, because he only wins this battle if he destroys my army. If I hold, I still get the victory. And as the timer ticks down to 2/3 done, I start to think I have a chance. As the sharpshooters fire, I try to be patient and wait. And as this random guard regiment tends to just pop up and down from the weird hiding mechanics, yeah, I'd see it just spawns into existence every once in a while and just absolutely, like, broadsides this poor light infantry. However, that may have been their last bullet. These light infantry are completely out of ammo, as they've been fighting in the center of the map since pretty much the start of the battle. If anyone actually knows how many shots one of these units has, please let me know in the comments. And this one light infantry unit gets absolutely shattered, but somehow they shatter the 2 enemy regiments just by existing. And I suppose because the enemies have no ammo. Seeing this, I decide, hey, what if I just charge in there? What if? And sort of, it worked. We did destroy those, well, not destroy, some of them were just pushed back and they had to reform. And the cavalry is slowly sneaking across. They've made almost no progress because I think forced actually does slow movement speed in this game. And anyways, it doesn't matter that much. Like, this battle is as good as lost because of how strong his position is with that artillery. Perhaps if I had my artillery alive, it might be different. And that's pretty much the way this battle tended to go. Advancing this infantry on the left, I hope maybe to dodge around, but the guns, but I've forgotten once again that they can hide in the trees. How many times do I need to learn this bloody lesson? As my final attempts at victory slip away, with time running down, it's just a waiting game at this point, with it being effectively a draw, meaning I don't lose any land, and I, next battle, get a chance to take him on his own soil. However, there is one problem. We lost 12 artillery pieces of our 50, and he lost 1, meaning we have 39 artillery guns, and he has way more than that, giving him 61 artillery pieces for the whole campaign. A mediocre start overall to the campaign. We lost a significant portion of artillery, but it does give us the chance to strike their own soil on the next battle. Join me whenever that video comes out, if you want to watch it. I promise you, there will be some quality, if possible. If you're still watching now, a subscribe would be lovely, if, you know, you like my content, which I'd imagine you do if you've put up with this entire video.